I didn't know if it was them or if it'd be
And it
seen.
didn't help last year that I
it's-
got an
is
injury like
it,
halfway
it's
through the
burning?
season, but I was out for like 2 or 3 weeks.
What'd you have?
It was, I strained my calf, and so now I have to wear a sleeve
Okay.
every time I run or do anything.
Yeah, thank you.
That's great.
That'd be cool.
But honestly, they
We stop.
work really nice.
How much do
Calves are tricky.
I'll look them up. They're not
Cause
bad.
I went to
They're
her
like
and
10 bucks
she's
a
like,
piece.
I'm pretty sure you just strained your calf. So you're gonna be out for a few weeks. I'm like, that's good. So
Yeah.
$20, let's give it to you now.
No, forget it.
No, here you go.
Better send me a text or I'll forget it.
I'll text you. I won't forget.
You got some deals here already?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Oh, what's going on? How are you?
Well,
Well, I've got 6 o'clock. I say we can start. Sound good?
Yep.
We'll be done by 8. I know we've got some new folks here, but Brady, do you mind just starting with introductions?
Sure.
Just go around quick.
Yeah, Brady Ewing. Grew up in Richland Center, went to school here, moved back to the community 3 years ago or so, and have 4 boys that are in the district, a part of the Hive program, alternative at-home education. So excited to be here and be a part of this then.
Awesome. Thanks.
I am Riley. I'm a sophomore at RCHS. My parents also went to Richland Center High School and we still live in the community. And I co-own farming business with my parents.
Awesome.
I'm Megan Clarkin. I'm a first grade teacher here with the district. Have been employed here for 13 years. We're a big sports family. My husband also works here and he coaches multiple varsity programs and youth programs. I am not from Richland Center. So.
I'm Larry Engel, I'm a local pastor, serve on the county board. And we raised 5 boys here.
Awesome.
They're all
5?
gone.
Wow.
Basketball team.
Thank you. Please.
oh, I'm Mark Miller. I own Miller Electric here in Richland County. I also am the Director of Energy Services for Richland Electric Cooperative for the last 4 years. Do both, double time in here. I'm greedy. I want to retire someday. So 50 years ago, I was born in Richland Center. Went through St. Mary's here in town. My district back then was Kickapoo, so I'm a Kickapoo grad. And then I started Miller Electric 29 years ago after I had gone through Southwest Tech and Madison Area Technical College with 2-year degrees in each one.
Awesome.
I'm Lacey. I am an import. I'm not from here. However, I have 6 kids. Graduated either in the district or in the district.
Great. Welcome back.
I had 3 kids that graduated from here too. Sorry, I should have added that.
I have 2 kids here too. Totally forgot about that.
Aaron.
Oh, Aaron will be behind. Born and raised Richland Center, whole life. Only was out of Richland Center for 3 years while I was in the Navy. Came back, working in the dairy industry. Been on the school board for 4 years. So, had 2 boys that graduated from here. And my wife graduated from here, so you're RC strong.
Awesome.
I think I know everybody, but I'm Steve Board. I'm the superintendent here. It's my 4th year in that role. I've lived in Richland Center since 1990, I guess. So, yeah, thanks for everyone coming back or joining us for the first time, if that's the case. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'm Steve Schrader, and I work for I'm here on behalf of the Donovan Group, which is a communication firm in Wisconsin, specialized in working with school districts. And I just do ad hoc projects for them. My real job is I work at the Association of Wisconsin School Administrators, which is the Principals Association in Wisconsin. So we provide professional learning, information services, legal services to the 3,000 school principals in the state. So happy to be here. Welcome to those of you who couldn't be here last time, and hopefully you got my email with the PowerPoint. I think you were, if I remember, the East Coast, weren't you?
I was
Graduation.
picking up my son from boot camp.
Yeah.
So he graduated from boot camp from the US Army.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So then we took him to Virginia, and that's where I dropped him off.
Okay.
So in Langley, it was
Okay.
right there in Langley Air Force / Army base.
Well, thank him for his service.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So I always like to start with just what you're hearing, if anything, from the community, including Aaron, the board, and Steve, the district. What you're hearing, Riley, from students, anything that you're hearing sort of about the process, questions that might be coming forward. Anything that you're hearing about what we're doing?
I just had a couple questions about it, nothing, people weren't necessarily hearing anything, they're just curious what's going on and
Awesome.
what the task is.
Okay.
No others had mentioned, oh, she must have been on the morning show maybe, talking a little bit about the event.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Great.
just some questions about what it's gonna be, when it's gonna be, things like that.
Okay. Perfect. And hopefully we'll figure out the when.
Mhm.
Tonight, we've got a couple of dates to propose to you for the 2-night event to see what you think about that. Megan, anything you're hearing internally?
No, I'm not sure a lot of staff members know. I
Okay.
guess I'm not really sure if it's like been like said or anything.
Yeah.
So I had a few people ask me like how the meeting went, because I talked to them, but not a lot of, of talk, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. I'm not sure that it's been like publicly
Sure.
like shared quite yet until
Okay.
we get dates for
Yeah.
sure, so.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Aaron, any feedback you received from the board at all?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
It's pretty early on.
It's early.
First meeting, just an overview of the process, which
Yeah.
the board's already familiar with, so nothing
Okay.
really new come up.
Yeah, sounds good. Larry and Mark, any questions that, I realize I'm putting you on the spot, but any questions from the PowerPoint deck that I sent out about what we're trying to accomplish? Anything that maybe wasn't clear?
It was well done.
Okay,
I'm good to go.
okay, good.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Sounds good. Yeah, what we did last, was it 2 weeks ago, maybe? Was really talked about what we're going to be doing. And what we want to do is plan a 2-evening community conversation event where we'll get feedback from your community that will come back together after that, and you will put together a strategic framework for the school district based on feedback from the community. So the next couple of meetings are all about getting ready for that event, because we want as many people there as possible. So for this meeting, we'll just go over the board charge very quickly. We'll look at the dates, and Steve, Aaron, and I had an offline conversation about some dates that we want to share with you and get your feedback on whether you think that those will work or not. We'll revisit the Google Excel sheet on mapping of the community, and then we will jump into some of the logistics and then the marketing of the 2-day event. And the 2-day event, Larry and Mark, it's ideally people come to both because there are different purposes for the 2 nights. The first night is a bit of sort of looking backwards. And the second night is more about how do we move forward in the school district. But we can talk more about that as we progress through. So this is the charge from the school board, what they asked you all to do. Ultimately, they would like a draft of a mission, vision, and value statements. And they would like a draft of that strategic plan framework, which is, I sometimes refer to as pillars or buckets. It'll probably be somewhere in the number 4 to 6. I mean, you usually don't want any more than that because it's just too overwhelming then. And your superintendent board just don't have the organizational capacity to accomplish more than that. This is a group that will make a recommendation to the school board. The school board ultimately decides on what that strategic framework looks like. And then they pass the baton to the superintendent. And then he works to create the key performance indicators. What are we measuring to show success? And then the metrics of success. What are the data points that the district will measure to show the community that the district is progressing in meeting the expectations of the board, which are really the expectations of the community. Hence, getting as many community members as we can in the room to get their feedback. So I think the rest is pretty self-explanatory. I just like to put this up at every meeting so we don't drift too far from what the board had asked us to do. This is just some pictures of what this event looks like. So we will talk about where we're going to have the event, but it really ends up being small group discussions, probably 6 to 10 people per table. And the ask is all of you would be table captains. And we'll talk about that as we get closer to the event. I have a sense of the questions that we'll do the first night and that second night. Ultimately, it's your decision, but I'll give you some recommendations on how the evening can look like. So we're gathering all of this feedback. I'll take a couple of weeks and do a thematic analysis based on what the community said, and then bring that data back to you. And then again, we'll put together a strategic framework. So this picture is up in Royal, which is Elroy and Kendall, a joint school district, and they had 110 people in a pretty small community come out. And you can see the lady at the bottom left with the marker. She's the table captain. So she was on the steering committee up there, and she's just recording notes as people talk about the first activity, for example, is a mad, glad, and sad. So we spent about 15 to 20 minutes on what we're mad about within the district, what we're glad about, and then what we're sad about. It just gives an example of some of the notes that she's capturing there. So our job is to do the community conversation and to find the themes that your community has in terms of the future direction of the school district. And future direction, we're usually talking about 5 years from now, because in about 5 years, you're probably, Steve and Aaron will want to come back and refresh the plan because a lot happens in 5 years. But this will essentially let the administration and the board know what are the priorities that this community has for the next 5 years for the school district. Without that engagement from your community, a school board is just sort of guessing, unless they're intentional. They have some really good ways to get that community feedback. Most boards do not, and so they're just sort of guessing what the community wants. We don't want to guess. We want to get the community in the room and find out what they want for the future of this school district. So in terms of, we're not going to go through all of this, but let's focus again on our job here within this steering committee. So we want to populate the event. Nothing is going to mean more to get people at this event than you shoulder tapping them, asking them to come. We can do, and we'll market this event. We'll do a lot of things to try to get people there. But putting something on Facebook will generate about 3 people who will come. If you are asking people, the probability of them attending is just much greater. So a big part of what we're going to do together, and we started it last week, is what I refer to as mapping the community, figuring out who are the people in the community that we really want to invite. Now, the event is open to everybody. It's not an invitation-only event. Anybody can come. But again, just posting something out there, you're not going to get a ton of people. Again, we need to work on some of the logistics, some of the PR. We need to think about what the agenda looks like. We need to communicate. and get the word out. And again, you'll end up being the table captains. Once we collect the data, I'll take a couple of weeks and do that analysis, and then we'll come back together in this room and start putting together the framework. And that, I have to say, most people find that the most fun, because that's when you have the data and we start bucketing that data and figuring out what is this strategic framework going to look like. And then we'll set a date to present this to your school board, and they will perhaps make some modifications to it, but ultimately your ask to them will be to approve the framework. And with the goal of starting July 1 or so with a strategic plan for the school district. It's going to take your superintendent and his team some time to create the strategies under each of those buckets. And what I'll recommend to Steve is that he roll out one or two of the pillars. Let's say there are 5. You can't jump into all 5 right away. So he'll have to do some prioritizing and figure out which of the pillars is he going to address first. Those usually have to deal with student achievement, student excellence, something like that. And then he'll start to develop strategies to meet the expectations of the board, which again are the expectations of the community. So let me pause for a second. Is this clear in terms of where we want to go? Especially with Mark and Larry trying to bring you up to speed a bit. Does sound okay? Awesome. So as we think about the dates, we usually do these events from, let's call it 5 to 8-ish, with the actual event being 6 to 8. It's usually nice to offer some sort of meal beforehand. And we'll get into the details with that. I'm doing this in 3 other districts. The one district, they said if we advertise this from 5 or even 5:15 to 8, people aren't going to come. It's too much time. So they advertise it from 5:15 to 6, dinner, and then advertise the event from 6 to 8. Again, the two-night event. That district, we did it on a Wednesday and the following Tuesday. We'll talk about that as we get closer, but what we want to try to do is figure out the dates. And Steve, Aaron, and I, as I said, looked at some possibilities. And looking at April 26th is a Sunday. And the thought with that was a Sunday evening might be a good idea. People usually don't have a lot of commitments on a Sunday evening, and that might help us get a large number of people at the event. Then we were thinking of that following Wednesday or Thursday. Or we could do the 29th and 30th. If you decide, you know what, we don't think Sundays are a good idea, it'd be better to do it, let's say on that Wednesday and the next day. If we did the 29th or 30th, we could look at that following week and do a day that week. We want 2 days that are relatively close together, probably within a week of each other. So let me stop. What are your thoughts on, well, let's start with, what are your thoughts on doing this on a Sunday evening?
I'd go Sunday, Thursday.
Sunday, Thursday?
I'd say looking at student academic
Yes.
or not necessarily academics, like sports activity, you'd more likely want to go on a Wednesday just because there are no activities on Wednesdays. I mean, Sundays are good, but I know a lot of students, and yes, this is just students, we're not looking at the entire picture, but a lot of students have dance classes on Thursdays that go about the time that we'd have this event, and track and baseball normally go on like Thursdays.
I retract it to Sunday, Wednesday.
Yeah,
You're
I'd
convinced.
rather go Sunday, Wednesday, but it would work better for the group.
And Steve, you looked at, I think, was there a track meet that Thursday?
Our baseball team is playing
Oh.
at Lancaster. As
Okay,
it sits right now, that's the only athletic event or school event that's going on. Once this committee locks in dates, I'll ensure that nothing else gets scheduled.
Sure.
We can't change that one, but we could ensure that nothing else gets scheduled.
Sounds great.
With a Sunday, can we make it more of a lunch? In the summer? I'm just thinking like, I've got little ones, they need to get to
Yeah.
bed. Like, that's not how we want to start a week.
Yeah,
Can it be like more of an afternoon event?
we can do this, whatever you want. This is completely flexible. I've never done it on a weekend. And when Steve and Aaron thought, well, this Sunday might be good, I thought it was a great idea. Let's take that idea, Megan. What do you all think about sort of lunch versus, well, let's call it afternoon versus early evening?
I'm good with it.
Better?
Yeah, I mean, right after church or something would be
Yeah.
fine too. You know,
Lacey, how's that sound to you?
I like the Sunday afternoon. I have littles at home.
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah, afternoon's good.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah,
Sunday
that
is
works
a
for
clear
me.
day.
yeah. So around the church schedule, anytime afternoon?
Should be good then.
Most people go 10 to 12,
Okay,
so I'd go 1 maybe.
okay. So could we
Or
do?
12:30, you could even try.
We could do, if we did like a 12:30 to 1, sort of the lunch, and then do the event 1 to 3.
Yeah.
And then, and we're pretty good at, just like these meetings, I try to keep to our word that when we say 3, we don't mean 4, we mean 3. These people have plans that they want to get done during the day. So we could do, again, have people start coming in at 12:30 with the event starting, again, 12:30 to 1, lunch, 1 to 3, the event. That sound good?
Mhm.
Aaron and Steve, thoughts? Sound good to you two?
Yeah, the only thing I would, and I'll do whatever, I do worry a little bit if it ends up being a beautiful day. And that ends up being one of our first beautiful days of the spring, that might be right in the middle of a time when people want to get outside and do things,
Yeah.
so. But totally.
Yeah.
Just maybe something to consider.
Yeah. Well, we can just pray for rain.
That's
I
right.
guess,
I really hope we have a nice day before then.
Yeah.
Weekend.
Couldn't even
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and part of this, again, if we can, and we'll have some talking points as we're talking to folks about this, but if we ask people, give us 2 hours on your Sunday. And if we're done at 3, that'll still give hopefully in the afternoon, but it's always a risk, Steve. I get it.
unless you want to move it to like 4, and then you could still be home at a decent time too. Well, you can still be able to do something during the day and then come. If it's a concern.
You folks would know better than I have no life, so.
I think people will come based on the quality of the relationship and who has to.
Yeah.
Plus it's a school, so I think depending on who you pick, they'll make it a priority
And if they
if
get
they're sold on it.
Yeah, well, that's true. And if they get the advanced sort of notice, the save the date. I personally, I think it's a coin flip between doing something like from 1 to 3 or 4 to 6.
I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
We'll make whatever work, but I'd say for our family, I would be more attracted to 4 to 6 personally,
Okay,
but I have no problem.
Yeah.
Either way, we'll make it work.
Same.
Like you said, if it's a priority for people, they see the value in it.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll be here.
Could you do supper after, kind of make them, do what they need to do, and then, hey, we'll reward you with food after?
yes, but nobody will stay.
Okay.
Part of this is, and we could do a 3 to 5. And you may decide, you know what, we don't need to have any type of food that first night. I think it's nice to have something. One of the undercurrents to this event is the building of the social fabric that ends up happening, where people come in, many of you have lived in this community a long time. There are people who haven't, who will come. And it's an opportunity for old friends to see each other and people to meet each other. So there's a social piece to this that happens. And my guess is, Megan, if you did something after, I think people are just going to want to go home, which I don't blame them. But again, you could do let's forget about the lunch or the dinner. You could do a 2 to 4, a 1 to 3, a 3 to 5, a 4 to 6. I get the 6 till 8 on a Sunday night. I mean, that's a lot, especially for parents with kiddos. But I think any combination there works. We just have to figure out what you all want to do. And I think keep talking and let's see if we can't find some consensus around that 2-hour block. And then what I might recommend is we have, again, something a half hour before. It doesn't have to be 45 minutes or an hour, especially if it's something like pizza. We've had hot dogs and brats, depending on what we do for food. And I'm jumping the gun on this, so forgive me. But we have had local businesses donate. We've also had, when we're up in Royal, there a sports booster club grilled brats and hot dogs one night. And then they had pizza from a local pizza place that was donated. I was just in Belleville and their food service took care of it both nights, Steve. It was too much of a hassle to try to get it donated. So the school district just had the food service take care of it. And they did get water and cookies donated by Quick Trip. But beyond that, so we don't have to worry too much about it. The point is, it's sort of a grab and go, something quick. But what do you think about, let's say 1 to 3, 2 to 4, 3 to 5, 4 to 6? What do you think makes the most sense for your community?
But when you're saying 3 to 5, it's actually 2:30 to 5, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if we do
That's where we're at with this?
if we do a half hour before that, Mark, I think, but again, we would advertise that sort of separately. So we would advertise it 2 to 4. If you're so inclined, come in from 1:30 to 2 and grab a bite.
4 to 6.
4 to 6?
Mm-hmm.
You like that, Brady?
Yep.
Lacey?
Yeah.
Mark, that okay?
Yeah.
So, and do you like the idea of advertising it from 3:30 to 4, where people can come in and we'll have some sort of, I realize that's sort of a weird time. It's sort of halfway between, I guess, lunch and dinner. That first night, we don't have to have anything. We would definitely have snacks and water. What are your thoughts on meal versus snacks from what would be 3:30 to 4?
I think just appetizers.
Yeah.
Just like grab and goes.
Yep.
Maybe some big cookies. Aren't we known for our big cookies?
Yeah. There's all school.
They don't.
Not during school.
So 3:30 to 4. And then the event from 4 to 6 on Sunday, April 26th. That sound good? Awesome.
That's gonna be here then too? It'd be,
Yeah, Steve, what were you thinking? The gym?
I was thinking that's an option.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be the only option.
Okay.
There are other places in town.
Awesome. Yeah.
Again, that would be up to the committee.
Yeah.
If it's valuable to be on school grounds or if it's more valuable to be off school grounds.
Sounds good. So we'll get there. Yeah. So then that Wednesday or Thursday, was there anything happening Wednesday, Steve, within the district?
Not a thing.
Okay. And what about religious classes? We used to call it CCD. Is that, does that still happen a lot on Wednesdays? So,
What's the cutoff for sports, like 7 p.m. or something like that?
Correct. Our sports teams can practice and participate until 7.
yeah,
And sports practices that day will be right after school.
Yes, I know at least track gets done around 5:30. I'm assuming baseball, softball get done around 5:36. Couldn't tell you about golf and soccer, but probably everything ends around the same.
Quite a few churches have Wednesday night activities.
yeah. That's been my experience. The one thing that we have done in the past, and Steve, I'm sort of directing this maybe your way, is for the school district to reach out to the local churches, not asking them to cancel anything, but just sort of letting them know if you decide to go with the 29th, that we're cognizant that there are events that night, but that was one of the only options that we have in terms of trying to fit it around the school schedule as well. If we did it, doing it on a weekday, I think you almost have to go 6 to 8, because anything earlier than that is just too hard for people to get to. I wouldn't do it any later than that either, because then after 8 o'clock, I think you'd start to lose people. So we could do something like a 5:15 or a 5:30 to 6. We could do dinner either the 29th or the 30th, and then the event from 6 to 8, which that time has worked pretty well for people. And for those of you with smaller kiddos like Megan and Lacey, I don't know how old your kids are, but we will have daycare options. So we will work with one of the classes and or one of the clubs, and we'll have that option for parents. Belleville's not a very big community. It's about 3,000 people. The second night we had 55 kids in their daycare, which was awesome. Because without that, we're not sure how many of those parents would have been able to come. Again, that's foreshadowing a bit, and we'll get to that and make sure that we get that covered.
Is it possible to go 2 Sundays in a row?
Yeah,
Then you avoid any tension with those churches,
yeah.
but they're used to the tension anyway, so it's not gonna, they're not gonna get upset.
I think it's
I think
definitely
there's a
possible.
big dance recital on May 2nd. I'm gonna check
Okay.
to confirm that. I
Yeah.
think that's
My only concern, Larry, is asking people to give 2 Sunday afternoons.
That was my first thought too. People don't want to give up weekends.
Riley, you gave a very convincing argument for doing it on a Wednesday. Is understanding there's was it the track meet on the 30th? Baseball?
Yeah.
Knowing that almost whatever night we pick, there's going to be some conflict. Is a Thursday completely out from your perspective? Or is it just not as ideal?
I don't think it's completely out of the perspective. I think it's just not as ideal for some parents and students that like maybe we'd want to come. I don't even remember who else involved in baseball, but like I know my family's a baseball family.
Yeah.
And many others
And
are.
in baseball, you'd be losing a principal and a director of instruction or director of operations too, because they're coaches. So that's 2 basically admin that you wouldn't have.
Okay, yeah.
So
I mean, I don't think it's totally out of the picture, just not as ideal, I'd say.
And Steve, that Tuesday, which would be the 28th, I know we looked at that date. Can you just remind us what was happening?
A lot of things.
Golf and
A lot of things?
baseball.
Okay.
Oh, and,
Yeah.
and more. Track invitational. Softball, everything's that
everybody's-
day.
I knew there was a reason we were looking at that Wednesday or Thursday. So, and at the end of the day, if people will be more than welcome to come to Sunday, and if they can't come to that Wednesday or Thursday, of course, they can come one day. Or if people can't come Sunday, they're more than welcome to come that next day. Ideally, we'd like people to come to both nights. But if they can only come to one, please, yes, we want them there. So I think you all just have to sort of come to some sort of consensus around either the Wednesday or the Thursday, knowing that neither is a perfect option. But I think, the fact that we're less than 2 months away, I think we need to try to firm that up tonight if we can.
I would say Sunday and Wednesday. I vote.
Riley,
That'd be mine as well.
ready? Work? Lacey?
I'm good with that.
Mark?
I'm good.
Larry? That okay? Steve and Aaron, these dates still work for you, right? So let's do it. Let's do Sunday, April 26th. The event would be from 4 to 6 p.m. with a 3:30 to 4 sort of welcome and appetizers, something like that. And then Wednesday, the 29th. And how do you feel about 5:30 to 6? You could, if you wanted a little extra time, you could always do 5:15. Any strong preferences on the start time for either 5:15 or 5:30?
5:30 gives more people, or gives people more time to get home from work and get situated.
Great. Agreed. So we'll do 5:30 to 6 dinner, with the event being from 6 to 8 p.m. Awesome. That's huge. Getting these dates taken care of. So I'm gonna come back to that, the mapping, just as we're talking about this. These are just some of the things that I put on sort of the to-do list. And we were talking about facility just a minute or two ago. Why don't we, if we can, have a discussion on what your thoughts are, if you'd like to do it within the school, and then knowing that the daycare, we would have some sort of, again, I don't know your school, but ideally some sort of locked off area where the kiddos would be, or even like a larger room where there's limited access in it for obvious reasons. Or if you think that there's a better place in the community for this event.
Guess in my mind, I just envisioned it in the commons and or gym, depending on how much space is needed.
Yeah,
And using the tables that are already there for lunch and things like that is
sounds good.
a place that just what came to my mind. but-
Yep.
Then maybe the kids can have the gym.
Or there's,
know.
well, I don't know if room 112 would be too small, because it's a bigger room, but I don't know if it would be big enough to house, like, if there was estimated 50 kids.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd be big enough to hold that many kids.
Maybe
Where's that?
multiple classrooms.
It's like right down by guidance area, the detention room, but.
So would the commons be big enough? If we had, let's call it 20 round tables and eight chairs per table?
Yeah.
Think we could do that? So either, well, we could just ask the superintendent to reserve both rooms, the commons and the gym, and sort of figure out. But is there a pretty clear consensus that you'd like to do it within this building? Yeah,
I think it's nice to get the community up here.
yeah,
Some folks haven't, been here, seen things and.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I agree, Brady. And as we sort of look at some of this, what some districts have done when the weather's decent, like it hopefully will be, insofar as it's not 20 below zero. They've had like the band outside playing. As people are coming in, it also lets people sort of know where to go, like what entrance do I go into? We can sort of figure that out if we want to do something like that. So Steve will take care of ensuring that the commons and the gym are reserved. And Steve, you and I can talk offline too, but if you could work with your staff, just in terms of a room for the daycare.
Yeah, we'll come up with something.
Awesome,
Yeah.
thanks.
And several if we need to.
That sounds great, thank you. Perfect, we've got that taken care of. And if it's okay, can we just sort of start going down? We'll start checking some of these off. What are you thinking in terms of food? I love the idea of the appetizers on that Sunday or some sort of finger food. Anybody have any connections to local businesses who might be willing to donate? Or offer some sort of discount to the school district? If not, we can always turn to potentially, again, this is up to Steve, but turn to the school district to see if what their capacity is to do something like that. But thoughts on places we could turn?
I mean, I know like Megan said, the big cookies, those are always a hit during any sport event or any event in general, but our school makes those.
Oh, they do, okay. Great,
I know like Sunnyside has donated in the past.
Yeah.
Sunnyside
Okay.
Bakery.
oh,
I don't know. I don't have many connections there.
does anybody have any connections that you might be willing to stop by or make a phone call and see?
At Sunnyside,
Or,
I guess one that comes to my mind, I don't know if that's the food we're looking for, but is Phoenix Center and Greg Show.
You think like pizzas or something?
Yeah. I don't know if that's kind of a weird time on Sunday, maybe we could do that on Wednesday,
Yeah.
ask them if they'd be willing to support that.
yeah, pizza tends to work well. It's just quick. And if you envision, let's say it's done in the gym, you have different stations where, so there's not that congested line. So I would imagine maybe 4 places spread out in the gym where people just go up, get their pizza, cookies, water.
I just assume Steve probably wouldn't want to pay kitchen staff to do this
We'll
stuff.
do whatever we need to do. This is
I mean,
ultra important for our
If you
school.
could do something where at the end of the day, it goes in the garbage and it's, you know what I mean, we could clean up after these people.
Yeah.
Lighten the load on the school a little bit.
Yeah. You often, Mark, if people are, and we don't even ask people, just start taking the folding chairs and they just put them in the metal racks, and once one person does it,
Yeah.
and it certainly helps the custodial staff for sure. So what do you think about pizza on that Wednesday night?
Yeah.
And Brady, do you have a connection with that?
Yeah.
Would you mind? And again, it's hard to estimate the number. I always think the goal is at least 100 people.
You'd probably know more after Sunday, wouldn't you? I mean, like,
Yeah.
for the pizza,
Yeah.
you'll know who's. gonna
Yeah, but
potentially-
I was just thinking, Mark, with his initial call, like, are you looking for 2 or are you looking for 25? But I think that ideally you want 100. My guess is we would end up, is it unrealistic to think you could have 125 to 150 people? The more the better.
It seems like that would be doable.
Yeah.
You've
the
done
fact
more-
that-
You've done more of this.
Right,
than-
I defer.
Out of 5,000, or, I mean, well over 5,000, I assume in the district
Yeah.
area, I would think we could get 100 at an evening.
Yeah.
I would hope.
I think you can too. I think a lot of it's going to fall on all of you. And then on the marketing plan that we have, and not to put the gauntlet down, but like in Belleville, a community of less than 3,000 people, they had 186 people, which was the all-time record that I've worked with, and I've done this quite a few years. Elroy, again, relatively small community, they had 110, 113 people. So,
Okay.
you know, if we can get even 150 to 175, I'm just throwing that number out, Brady, more just to give you a sense when you call them. So that it just helps them be able to give you an answer on whether they can do that. And if they can't donate it, if they're willing to do a discount, I know the school district would appreciate that. We'll make sure that they get a kudos in front of everybody.
For sure.
So,
Yeah, I was talking with Greg about something else today and I'll see him Wednesday. So I'll touch
Awesome.
base with him.
thanks.
Yeah, good.
Does anybody have a connection to Quick Trip? They often are willing to donate water, like cases of water, it's just helpful.
Does the district still get water from REC, Steve?
Right. I was just wondering, we might have some laying around, right? So I could maybe make that happen. I don't know how much water you need, you think? I mean, like, because you're gonna want some other drinks probably too, right? So I think that Miller could probably do the other drinks, like, I might be able to handle the drinks,
Awesome.
right, between REC. Depending on what you're looking for, you know, I mean, pop's easy, you know,
That's awesome.
waters, I'm sure we can make water happen. I
Awesome.
just don't know what we have left, because like our water for the schools at REC, it comes at a certain time of year.
Mhm.
I don't know what we got left up there. I have to see. But if not, big deal, you know, we can figure something out.
I mean, if not, I've reached out to your trip before, so I could do it again.
Great.
You know, they've been good. Quick Trip, I believe donates, or maybe we buy it for the weight room in the morning too, chocolate milk and things like that.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you don't have, I don't work with them, but Coach Troxel.
Okay.
You'd be surprised how many people want chocolate milk. Like when we have our member appreciation stuff up there, we'll have Quick Trip, those small chocolate milks. You'd be surprised how many people pass up to pop and stuff and they want chocolate milk.
Just
It's
like that.
Dairy breakfast.
just crazy.
They go crazy at fair time. Like they have coolers going around and people just buy milk, buy milk, buy milk.
Huh.
It's crazy how much they go by.
If you want to check on chocolate milk, that'd be great. I don't have,
Yeah,
I don't have any access.
That's great. Perfect. So then we'll think about sort of pizza, cookies, beverages for Wednesday night. What are you thinking in terms of the Sunday? I know we talked about the big cookies, we talked about sort of appetizers. What do you think makes the most sense for that timing from a 4 to 6-ish?
Trees, fruit, cheese, and meat
Yeah, I
trays.
was thinking like fruit trays, cheese and crackers, veggie trays.
And is there any place that, well, I know there's a place that, or places that do that? Anybody know of?
I know the locker's really good at it, but I don't know if you donate it, you know what I mean? I don't know if I want to hit it for it. You have inside information there, right?
A
Probably.
little bit. I can ask.
Right?
And even if, again,
This
if,
is great.
and I'm sure the district is willing to buy local, so if they're willing, do you mind, Lacey, to see
No.
if?
I don't mind.
Awesome,
do that.
thank you.
Mm.
So we've got a plan then, potentially, for that Sunday and then on Wednesday. That's awesome. So let's just, as long as we're making progress, let's keep going. We have found it helpful to have what we call an endorser on both nights. It is, imagine Aaron gives a very brief welcome, and we'll ask Aaron and Steve, one of you will give the welcome on Sunday, and then the other will give the thank you. Then the opposite will give the welcome and the thank you on Wednesday. So you'll give one welcome and one thank you on both nights, if that's okay with the two of you, just as representatives of the district. But after the welcome on each night, we like to have somebody in the community, two separate people, one on Sunday, one on Wednesday, who's well respected in the community, somebody who's willing to, for lack of a better term, bless the event. They're saying that I think this is important and thank you for being here. I'm here. I'm glad that you're here. In some districts, I'm thinking of Wisconsin Heights down the road. They were very cognizant of wanting somebody from Black Earth one night and then Mesa Maney the next night. They really wanted to make sure that they had that taken care of. In Belleville, they had the retired high school principal who was principal there for 40 years and was just completely beloved. And then they had a younger person the second night who was the president of the bank. So any sense of somebody who could be, again, could be a pastor, it could be a retired teacher, a retired administrator, could be a current teacher, it could be a local business person, it could be, usually whenever I bring up the mayor or plug your ears, Larry, somebody on the county board or something, there, people are like, yeah, we don't want them. Not you, but with
Hey, that's the fun. They resemble everywhere.
But looking for two people in your community who you think have that type of respect and reverence.
Well, one that jumps out at me is Ron, Ron Troop right away. I mean, he'd be fantastic at whatever, He's very well spoken, he's entertaining. That's one of the.
And he's on the committee, right? He was here last time, if I'm not
He
mistaken.
was sat right above.
Right here, yeah, okay, yeah.
Ron's pretty fantastic. Mick's also been around forever. He's an asset of the community as well, But those two guys are off the top of my head, I guess.
Rod would be superb.
Yeah, he's good at
The
whatever.
other person, I don't know if you'd let her do it internally, would be Sheila
I
Troxel.
thought Sheila too, she's the. first
Sheila
name that-
has a big thumbprint.
Mhm. She's on the school board. though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
Next to Ron, I mean, if you look at her election results, she won every district in every county and the whole place.
Aaron, putting you on the spot, what are your initial thoughts thinking of having a board member do that?
That's catch-22 because we want to be removing ourselves from this, but you also understand the influence
Yeah,
that an individual has in their community. So it's I guess a tough one for me to answer
yeah,
because for the folks that haven't been here, Larry and Mark, this isn't on a board function. The board sought out the Donovan Group and you guys as steering committee members to facilitate this, and the board is in the back seat.
I understand that. I just
I don't,
wanted to raise her because if you look at virtually everything and anything in the county, there's a fingerprint there.
oh no, trust me, I understand that.
well, and again, we're jumping ahead, but if you imagine all those tables in the gym, we'll have a table set up for the board. So the board will not be at a table. They'll be at their own table. And so they'll be there. And Aaron has said he thinks it's important for the board to be visible at that event, but they're not participating at any of the tables and in any of the discussions. But that said, if Sheila has that type of following, if you will, in the community, and and for her to say, I'm on the board, but I haven't been involved in this. I didn't ask to speak. They asked me. I don't see anything inherently wrong or bad with Sheila doing it. If you all think that she would have an impact.
I think I was looking to mine too. So.
Yeah. Same, literally personal.
You and
experience.
Sheila came to my brain.
He has a big influence over some of the kids in our school.
Especially the
Like,
students, agreed.
you've made like a huge impact within a
Mhm.
lot of the students' lives.
And the youth.
It is nice sometimes to have that generational difference.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do it if that's what the committee thinks best.
I'm good with that too, man. You got my vote.
I'm good with that too.
That was easy.
You and Ron would be great.
I think so. You'd be great.
And Ron did send me an email and said he may, if he comes, he'll be here late, so I don't know if he'll be able to make it, but
I'm sure he won't turn it down. I mean, he's that kind of guy. If you tell him, hey, Ron, you're the guy, then he'll do it. You know,
love it.
no problem with public speaking there either. But
So Brady, or yes?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you bet.
If Ron doesn't show up, is there somebody who's willing to just reach out to him and ask him if he's willing to do it on one of the nights, and we'll figure out which night each of you take?
I think that if anybody, even if you just emailed him, he would do it. You know,
I'm more than happy to. If you want me just
It's
to,
that simple.
tell him we nominated him.
I'll take care of it. Perfect.
We hung it on him, yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. And so Brady, and I'll say the same thing to Ron, this is like just a couple of minutes.
Okay.
And we want to sort of jump into it. Often what people talk about is just their connection to Richland. I think Ron and you have a unique perspective because you're also both on the steering committee, which I think will be helpful. I think it's obviously expressing gratitude for people to give up either a Sunday afternoon or a Wednesday evening to attend, and that you're grateful that they're there, that this is important work. And again, I think with you being on the steering committee, it just gives a little bit more sway, if you will, that this isn't going to be a traditional, or what's sometimes viewed as a traditional strategic planning experience where we spend all this time, we gather all of this detail, we put together a plan, and it gets 3-hole punched and sits on a shelf. That your school board has said that is not what we want, and your superintendent has said that's not what he wants. And so whatever that plan is, that there is a seriousness of, hey, Ron.
Ron, we're talking about you.
Good thing, slow meeting.
Just say yes.
Yeah.
Ron, we were talking about the endorsers. And it's at the beginning of the 2-night event, which, by the way, and I'll fill you in after the meeting,
All right.
what we talked about. We solidified and coalesced around 2 dates at the end of April. But I found that it's helpful to have somebody who's well-respected in the community to say thank you to people for coming. I was saying Brady's the other one who was nominated, by the way, but the two of you being on the steering committee, giving the reassurance to the people who attend that this is not a process that is where nothing's going to happen from it, that there's a commitment from the board, there's a commitment from your superintendent, and you all here being people that the board appointed to this committee, that you're going to hold the board's feet to the fire to make sure that they're holding your superintendent's feet to the fire to make progress on whatever it is your community wants. And so if you would be willing to do that one night, and then Brady the other night, again, 2 to 3, maybe 4 minutes, but it's a little bit about your background, your connection to the community and ideally the importance of this school district and the importance of gathering the feedback from your community. Because your board members are nothing more than trustees. They are nothing more than the voice for the community at the board table. But if they don't know what the community wants, they can't advocate for that. Is that something you'd be willing to do, Ron? Thank you. This is awesome. Thank you to both of you.
You came to mind of multiple people here. So.
Thank you.
And we can talk more offline and again, we'll just figure out which of you will go which night. I was saying, Ron, that we're going to do this on a Sunday afternoon from 4 to 6, and then that following Wednesday from 6 until 8.
Okay.
And on Sunday, Aaron may give the welcome, and then you would follow, and then Steve gives the closing. On Wednesday, Steve gives the opening, the thank you. Brady, you go, and then Aaron and Steve end. But we'll figure those details out later. So thank you both very
Be
much.
cautious about giving Ron Sunday. He's a preacher.
Okay, Wednesday. Brady, your Sunday. That's great. Next on the list, and these are in no particular order, student greeters. I think it's great when people walk into this building, especially people, to Brady's point, having people come into the building, and you have some community members who haven't been here for a while, and maybe years, maybe decades, that they're greeted by students. And so imagine a table like this where it's A through whatever and N through Z. People come in, we'll have name badges pre-printed. And so we'll have students who just are checking people off, and then students standing to the side who are walking the people to their table. Okay? And so Steve, what we're going to need some help with are just, and Riley, you can help us with this too. Well, Brady, all of you might be able to help. What are the groups that we'd want to ask to do this? There's often the FFA, FBLA, DECA, the volleyball team, fill in the blank. But we'll want to, and if it doesn't have to be an organization, we could have a sign up. But we would need probably, if we have at least 4 students at the check-in table, and then probably 6 students who are walking people to their tables. Steve will probably want students who are serving the pizza or the food, which is always nice. Again, it's an opportunity for people that just interact with some of your students. So if you can just give that some thought. Again, sometimes clubs like to do this together, especially if you have a service club and they have to get their hours in. The only caveat that I like to mention is often school districts turn to the football team or, again, FFA, which is great. You have a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot because I don't know. You have some students in your school system who maybe aren't that involved in things for a variety of reasons. Who knows why? It could be students with special needs who often, this is my opinion, but often get overlooked, and they seldom get shoulder tapped to do some of these things. So one of the ideas, Riley and Steve in particular, is if your faculty and staff can also be on the lookout for just that kid who just might need that tap on the shoulder that might make a difference to him or her. And I'm not trying to be too dramatic about it, but we often go to the same kids. And Riley, I'm glad you're here. So this isn't directed toward you at all. But when the board was thinking about names, everybody said Riley, which is awesome. But there are other kids who are less known, who them being asked to do something like this could actually have an impact for them. Does that make sense? So between Riley and Steve, and if you can just start talking to Ryan and Liz and others about, we probably don't want to go below middle school. It's usually high school, but you can make an argument. You could include 7th and 8th grade if you wanted to. But there's dual purpose to that. Again, it's for your community to interact with kids. It's also a nice reminder as they sit down and they start going through that mad, glads, and sads activity, that it helps focus these events on children, which ultimately is why we're doing this.
You found that involving different groups, the band, the football team,
Yeah.
Whoever to be involved, that brings their family
Yeah.
members into the event.
Absolutely. It's usually the case, Brady, where it does.
I was thinking like youth basketball night, the
Absolutely.
stands are just packed.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
lots of parents, grandparents there
Yeah.
watching their
And then
get introduced.
absolutely. And then those students can then participate at a table. So let's say they're helping check in from 5:30 to 6, and then they join a table to participate in the group activity, because it's essential that we have student voice at this event, which goes back to our last meeting too. The students we want to have some students who maybe are not as involved, because we're going to get a different perspective from them than the captain of the football team. And I'm not knocking the captain of the football team at all, but if we can also think about how we can have a variety and a diversity of students there, I think that just makes the data that we collect that much more richer.
You could reach out to the students at Partner.
They don't get recognized enough, in my opinion.
No, they don't.
And who is that, Lisa? I'm sorry.
The students that go to our partner school.
Okay. Yeah.
Oftentimes, a lot of people in our school get talked about maybe once or twice, and I'm like, they're doing a lot in that school. Like, it's not just, oh well, they want an easy way out. No, they're doing physical stuff. So I mean, I definitely think they should be involved.
Definitely not the easy way out. Not when you have to do it, you do the majority of it independently.
So if you have ideas, if you want to direct them to Steve or me, we'll make sure. And then maybe in the next week or so, Riley, if you're available, maybe the superintendent, you and I can just have a quick Zoom meeting or phone call, and we can start working on some of that. Is that fair to you, Steve?
Perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for that, Lacey, too, because those are, again, students at different schools, whatever it is, we want this to be as inclusive of an event as possible. So that's the student greeters. What we also think makes a lot of sense, and people really enjoy this, is having some sort of student performances. That could be the band, the choir. It could be, and again, I don't know exactly what you have here. Could be the drama club, where maybe, do you have a drama?
We have a play coming up this week.
And did you have a musical in the fall? Or,
We had Grease last year.
Okay.
And then Mamma Mia is coming up
Okay.
this next year, so.
so it could be like a preview of, and this depends on your director, of course, but if they would be, let's say they're willing to do one of the songs from Mamma Mia. It's also sort of nice to let the community know that, hey, next fall or whenever that play is, and it doesn't have to be a choir. We have had FFA actually, in one school district, they did like a parliamentary procedure, which, I mean, it was hilarious. I mean, they did such a great job. We've had forensics, so spoken word. It doesn't matter what, but if we can incorporate a couple of student performances, what we did in Belleville, which worked really well, is I'm just going to take the first event, starts at 4. So like at 3:55 till 4 o'clock, they had a student performance. Then we did the first activity, and at about between 7 and 7:10, we did a quick break. Then before we started the second activity, we had another student performance. It's a way to get 4 student performances, 2 each night. It tends to be one of the highlights for people. So we don't have to make final decisions now, but any any thoughts that Steve and I can start writing down in terms of ideas you have for performance? The other piece I already mentioned is you could have the band like outside as people are coming in to the event. So the idea is the more students we have to participate, often the better. So if we can find things, that just creates more opportunity for students. But for the student performances, any ideas on groups we could ask?
I mean, I know you said drama or forensics. We have 2 play acting skits in forensics who are amazingly funny. I mean, I've watched at least one of them and I know the other one's really good. But like if you wanted to look at something like funny to get people kind of warmed up, those would be 2 great ones to ask.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I haven't been around for a while, but do you have anybody that plays piano real easy or real well?
Yes, we have.
Cause like that's easy enough to do with just, you know, with a keyboard and
Yeah.
a speaker out here, you know, while people are getting their appetizers.
Absolutely.
I could.
I
have a
love
couple
that.
names in mind that could do that.
Or a kid that plays guitar, something like that, you know, something light in the background.
Yes, they're coming in and they're registering and they're getting to their table. Love that idea.
Might be easier to coordinate than the band,
Yeah,
you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
absolutely.
Got a couple of them.
love that.
You know, he went a little famous on the school's Facebook page, Logan Peterson. He plays saxophone very, very, very well. So if that would be something we'd be interested in.
Awesome.
You did the national anthem, if that's something that you typically do at these things, that would be a
Yeah,
great idea.
yeah. We haven't, but I love it. And again, this is your event. You know your community. You know, there are some who the national anthem, or they might want to do like the Pledge of Allegiance. All of that is open for whatever you want to do. In one of the districts, they did have the elementary choir. I think they were probably like 4th through 6th grade. And it was really cute. Again, there are just lots of ideas that you could do.
That's where my brain went, like getting like maybe the older elementary
Yeah.
kiddos
Yeah.
involved. I know, Miss Calabria, is that how you say it?
Yeah, Miss Calabria.
Okay, yeah, I know that she would put something together. She'd be more than happy, yeah.
That's great.
Not really a student performance, but I think Homer needs to be here. Someone needs to be Homer,
Yeah.
our mascot, so.
Steve just said he's willing to do it, so he's, no, I'm
Oh.
kidding.
One never knows if I've been in there before.
Yeah, thank you. So we'll make sure that Homer's here both nights. Any other ideas? Lacey, I'm gonna just put you on the spot in terms of when you talked about partner schools, and pardon my ignorance, I'm not sure exactly what that is, but do you know if they do something, again, where we can bring in students from some of the other schools to do something?
Partners a lot of independent projects,
Okay,
so they don't collaborate on a whole lot. I'm not sure how much Hive collaborates with each other.
How much
Okay.
more remote.
Yeah.
well, maybe it's something we can give some thought to and see. Again, this could be somebody is reading a poem that they've written. There's really no limit to what we could do, and they're relatively short. So if we did one, I love Mark's idea of having, and Riley, what you're talking about with Logan, one night we could have sort of the piano as people are coming in, one night we could have the sax, and then you could still end up having 2 student performances. One right before the event starts, and then one right after the break as we're gearing into the second event. Think of the 2 nights as, there's 2 events for both nights. So we'll spend about an hour, take a break, that second student performance, and then we spend about the next 40 to 45 minutes in an activity that will end each night. So that gives, again, lots of opportunities for some different student groups. So Steve, we'll add it to our list. And then Steve can talk to some of the faculty and staff and just see also if they have ideas and so on. Sound good?
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to, depending if some of the other folks don't work out, having the band there too. The weather's nice, having them outside, I feel like that would be an upbeat
It's really cool.
And if,
environment for people to walk
Yeah.
in.
Bring your parents too.
Yeah, there's a lot more
that's right.
numbers in that group too, yeah,
Yeah.
certainly.
There you go.
And if we wanted to do like even just a smaller group, like right now, still on softball season. So like performances, there's like brass, there's percussion ensemble, there's woodwind, so like there's 3 separate large groups.
Yeah.
Cause our band is gigantic.
Okay.
But if we wanted to do full band, again, drawing numbers, so that would
Yeah.
be a bad idea.
Yeah, you could have some come
just
Sunday,
wrap it
some
up.
come Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is something when they did that in Wisconsin Heights, it was, the weather is really nice. They also had, I didn't quite understand it, but like almost like a car club. And they also had like a drone, something where like the kids were like flying their drones around and but the band was playing and there was that sense of like, it was pretty cool as people were walking in. They also had like balloons and lining the sidewalk. And it was really neat because then they came in, well, they see students in the parking lot and outside, and then they come in and the first thing they see are students at the table welcoming them. So it just, I'm trying to give you a sense of what this could look like. Because yes, we want their data. We want to know their experiences. We also want this to be a really positive event for members of your community, knowing that approximately 70% of your community members do not have kids in the school district. Now, they may have at one time, but and I don't know exactly what it is here, but it's close. It'll be between 65 and 75% of your community, they don't have kids here. And again, many of them, I'm sure that you're going to find some people who've never even been in this building. And so we want them to feel welcome and we want them to feel special. Awesome.
Do you guys still have those art teachers that do the chalk drawings?
That's what I was just thinking.
It's like,
That's a
man,
Yeah.
when that Eric Testman was here for that fundraiser, I bought one of their drawings of a Stratocaster. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I still have it framed. It's on.
The Rogers, both of them, they do really cool art drawings. Like if you ever go to Kelly's Coffee, the chalk drawings that are up on the board, that's always them, and they're always really cool.
I just wondering, like, maybe the art class, do they do that in class at all? Like have a couple students do something outside or something?
Think they do chalk, I think they could, yeah.
Just an idea.
We might be able to get that,
Cool.
Steve. I love that idea. That's really great.
So I'm here for
Yeah.
But then we don't want
it. We don't actually have to do anything.
Soda. Hey, don't forget about the drinks. No, this is the type of brainstorming that we want. I've never had anybody bring up the idea of the sidewalk chalk. I love that.
Just
idea.
because of that, those teachers.
Yeah.
They like competitively do
Yeah,
it,
they do.
right?
Yep.
All
Yeah.
over the place or something. I don't know.
So the other thing that we've seen is, again, I don't know what the layout is, but as people are walking in the building or like standing in line at the tables, having student artwork. Could be paintings, it could be clay things that they've made, but up in Belleville, there had to have been 100 pieces of just student art there. And it really, again, was cool for people to come in and just see. I couldn't believe, and I've got a pretty artistic 16-year-old daughter, but some of these pieces, I mean, they look like they were museum quality. And it just, again, it lets people know what an amazing school environment you have here and what your children are learning and grandchildren and neighbors. So that's something that we can also talk about. I'm just throwing out ideas on what's worked. And some of that would depend on the art teacher being willing to, and their student being willing to sort of organize that a bit, but that has gone over really well.
When is the art show?
I was just
I
seeing
would
if I
get-
could find it. I
It's
don't
not on
have
the
it down here.
calendar.
And that would be nice if you did it throughout all the buildings, so it was inclusive for
Yeah.
little down.
Represent those little. Right.
Because the littles don't get recognized.
They don't.
Yeah.
Everything you're talking about is 9 and up.
Yeah.
That would be inclusive for our smaller kids.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that, and even Lacey with like the band, we could bring some of the middle school students here. So I'm not trying to imply that this has to be high school level. There's no reason we couldn't have elementary and middle school students have their art being displayed here as well. Absolutely.
And if we were to bring in the art club, I know a lot of the art club, some of them are, as you said, not as popular as other, whatever way you'd
Yeah.
like to put it.
Sure.
But it'd be a good recognition in their accomplishments.
I love that.
They're not as social.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll capture these ideas and keep thinking about what makes the most sense, and then we'll do some asks to see what we can come up with. But Lacey, I know that we'll be sure that it's more than 9-12, that we can incorporate the other grades.
Well, our high school is 7-12.
Or 7, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Most are, but ours
Yeah,
is.
yeah. But even then, can we get some third grade art here, for example? Yep. So moving on down to our list, daycare. Usually, and Steve, again, I don't know your curriculum, but if there is a consumer family studies class, some districts offer, if it's not a daycare class, it's something in that department. That could be an option, asking if that.
Wasn't it like Safe Sitter or something? Didn't the kids get certified in that or something?
Yeah, we don't have that, but we have had numerous activities where we've got students that have done, face painting for super registration and that kind of a thing that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure that we'll have students that can
Awesome.
do that.
And usually we'll have the, if they're willing, that face teacher just sort of be here and help coordinate. So there's obviously an adult in the room. When they did this in Belleville, they had doors that they could close and lock. And the kids were like playing bowling in the hallway. And then there's a separate room that they were in. So it was like this open space where they could go into a couple of different rooms, and there are different activities in the different rooms. And then there was, they could be in the hallway and they were doing bowling and doing some of that stuff there. But it is really helpful. I was saying, Ron, that in Belleville, we had 186 people and there are over 50 children in the daycare. Now, I've done this where 3 kids show up too. So you never know. But on a Sunday, my guess is that it'll be utilized. So if you think that offering that, and we'll advertise that to parents, if you think that's a good idea, then Steve and I can talk more about that offline. But anybody have any concerns about offering childcare? Okay. So we'll have some conversations and we'll have some adults there and see if we can't get some students there to play with the kiddos. We've already started to generate a list of student performances. I want to spend a little time on the mapping spreadsheet that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. But before we do that, can we just spend a few minutes on the marketing? Beyond the shoulder tapping that you all are doing, and Aaron, too, for the board, somebody like a Sheila, for example, well-connected, please encourage them to be shoulder tapping people to attend as well.
The board's well aware that they have to be active in
Awesome,
shoulder tapping.
awesome.
out there.
Great, great, thanks. We'll want to also think of other ways that we can get the word out to your community. It will be things like, and some of this will just be internal. So the school district website page, for example, we'll make sure that we're putting that there. Reaching out, if you think this is appropriate and a good idea, reaching out to some of the local churches, asking them if, we don't have a lot of time, but if they're willing to put something in their newsletters. Especially with that April newsletter, and we're ready into March already, but if there are any, like if people check out, and again, I don't know your community, but if people check out the bulletin board at the library, if your local Culver's is willing to hand out quarter sheets of paper, have them at the register, sometimes they're willing to put them on the tray. If your bank or banks are willing to put something on their electronic sign, obviously the school district can do some of that for the facilities that they own. One idea that most school districts end up doing is asking the school district to send a postcard to every mailbox in the district. And we'll have to design this. We'll have to figure out what that will look like. And we're, to save the date, seeing it's March 2nd, there is some urgency, I think, to some of this. But what are your thoughts on the school district sending a postcard to ensure that it hits every mailbox in your, how many municipalities? 9? 13?
14.
So every mailbox will get this postcard advertising the date and then having some type of website, which Steve, you and I need to talk a little bit about. The school district will create a website for this event because we do want people to RSVP for it. And it's nothing more than a Google form. Once they click on it, their name. It's great to get email addresses because those are people we can keep in contact with after the event. And that's a group that Steve wants to ensure gets updates on the strategic plan as it moves forward. But thoughts on the school district doing that?
I like that idea. And then some of the other options like church bulletins
Yeah.
and, Community First Bank sign. I've seen they've been doing more community related
Okay.
events here recently on their side.
Clary's would be good too,
Yeah.
as you're coming in.
Yep. Yeah, I think the postcards makes a ton of sense.
Okay,
I can get it to 36 churches.
You can get up to 36. Awesome.
No, I mean, I could send it out to them.
Yeah.
perfect. Thanks, Larry. That's great.
When you did the referendum, you sent actually a newsletter to all of us, didn't you, Steve?
That's correct. And we continue to send a newsletter out. I'll ask Carrie when our next one's going out, because that would be
Yeah,
extremely important to get this in there.
absolutely.
With
So it's a little more than a
Ron
postcard.
and Brady on there.
Yeah.
Please come.
So, Steve, can I ask, what are your thoughts on, yes, the newsletter? Does the district have the capacity to create a fairly simple postcard-ish document that gets sent out to mailboxes? Is that doable?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
I mean, if we're sending out our semi-annual district newsletter to every mailbox in the district, and that's going out the second week in April, I don't know if that's too soon, too close,
Yeah.
or if it needs to be before that. Or maybe, I just don't know when Carrie's got it planned
Sure.
to be sent out.
Yeah.
So,
Steve, I was curious about those quotes. He and Sheila. 3 quotes would be great. Inviting people to come.
On the postcard, you're saying?
Yeah. You wouldn't have to have your picture, but you could.
Oh, no, you have a picture.
So we can work with Carrie and just see what makes sense. And I know you're sick of me saying this, but even with these potential postcards hitting every mailbox, nothing is going to matter more than you asking people to attend. It is easy to get a postcard and be like, oh yeah, that looks good. And then it goes in the recycling bin. Nothing makes more of an impact than each of you. If each of you asked 10 people, I'm not great with math, but that's 70 people right there. And if they brought a spouse or a partner, that's potentially 140 people right there. And so just think about that as we get into that back to the mapping exercise. Because that's the piece that, again, I just can't tell you what you see something on a bank sign and it's like, oh, that's great. And then you just sort of forget about it 2 minutes later or less than that as you continue driving. But the school board picked all of you for a reason, because you're so well respected in the community that when you say, please come to this, there's a heightened urgency for people to do that. So, and we'll talk about that, but we will get, I'm forgetting, our next meeting's in a couple of weeks.
I believe 2 weeks from tonight.
2 weeks.
Carrie did just say that our district-wide newsletter is going to be to the printers by March 15th with a goal of April 1st mail.
Okay,
So that might
We're good.
actually
That might
go
be-
well. We could get
that
some
might be perfect. yeah.
good coverage there, because then you can provide more information.
Absolutely. And that's where Larry's idea of a quote from Brady, from Ron, from potentially Sheila, that's where we just have more room. When you're limited on a postcard, there's only so much you can have on there. But I think that's a great idea.
It's an invitation.
That's exactly it. When the two of you and whomever else is inviting the community, it just means more than just a generic, hey, come to this event. So, and then Steve and I will talk this week about the district off of the homepage, having some sort of link where we will have more information about the 2-night event. We'll have, that's where people will RSVP. The other thing, Steve, is for some folks, they may not have access to a computer. So if you can just think about a phone number, whether it's your admin or somebody that they could call, and then that staff person is just entering them in the system for them. The other thing for you, and I realize I'm a bit scattered with some of this, so forgive me in advance, but if you talk to somebody and they want you to RSVP for them, go to that website and just put in their name. And if they don't have an email address, that's fine. But the more email addresses the district collects, just the better, because these become your key communicators. And these are people who are more vested. They're actually going to show up for these events, and they're going to expect to want to hear what's happening, not just in the district newsletter, but maybe in emails directly from the superintendent to this group of people who attended. Because in some ways, we could make an argument that they deserve a little more communication if they're willing to give up a couple of their evenings to attend. So Steve and I will talk about just the creation. It'll be a basic website. But for more information, go to the district website. There'll be a link there. If people don't RSVP and show up, absolutely. You're at church on Sunday and somebody says, oh, I didn't RSVP. Of course they're welcome that day. We will have blank name badges, and we will create spaces for anybody who wants to attend. It's just easier for us to plan if we know who's attending.
Sure. I think Mick has connections to that electronic sign.
The city,
It's
doesn't
over
the school
the-
district have a relationship with the city on the digital billboard on 14 East?
We lease
Yeah.
a spot from
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
That'd be a great place.
That's
Plus
excellent.
Clary and Richland County Bank, plus the school. That'd be 4 spots,
Mhm.
or community first spot.
You're saying on the auditorium too, with Mick, is that what you're saying?
No,
Don't they have a digital board on the auditorium too?
It's the one
They
that.
do, yeah, the marquee at the auditorium is digital. He does things up there. He'll post it, yeah,
And, Greg and Amy do too.
yeah. Yeah, Phoenix.
Yeah.
So reversing like 5 steps. I
Yeah,
don't know
please.
why I didn't think about
No,
it before
please.
when we were talking about food here.
Yeah.
So we're just finishing up that wild honey juicery place, that McCarville's are doing. And I bet if we talked to Tony, she would be anxious to probably help out on that Sunday, since it's kind of a weird time, with some like juices and like cookies or whatever she's doing, bakery items, and maybe some coffee, just to get her business out there. Cause they're gonna be doing like a soft opening about that time anyway, and then they'll be full go here probably in May. So this might work out. I might, if it's okay, I might contact and ask her.
Please.
I think so.
I think she's usually pretty excited to do whatever, and if they need some compensation, then I would go in on it with her.
Okay.
With my business or whatever,
That's great.
potentially.
Thank you.
We'll see. It might be better than just Pepsi's and Mountain Dew.
Well, she's a former member of the board as
She
well.
is.
Yeah.
She is.
That's
She's
awesome.
active in the community.
Yeah, nice to give a new business too.
Man, wait till you go in that. The thing's small, unreal inside. I mean,
Looks pretty up from the
I've seen the
outside.
side of the building. It's so pretty.
Anything's cool.
yeah, we've been working on it forever, but it's nice.
That's awesome. Perfect. What we'll do too is we'll create a Google sheet. And so when you have ideas that come to you tonight, after our meeting, just go in and throw them in that document. And then we can try to track as much of this as possible.
As far as marketing, I come from generational social media.
Yeah.
So just be very active on
Yeah.
social media. From experience, I run the Booster Club Facebook page. It's better to create an event on Facebook because people keep getting reminders about it and it
Yes.
spreads a lot quickly than just one post and then
Yeah.
hoping people share it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something Carrie wants to do, but it's more beneficial to create an event. That's why people like keep getting reminders and like the word just seems to spread a lot more. Like, oh, Riley is interested in this. So like it popped up on my newsfeed. She's interested. I should be interested.
Yes.
Like it just spreads more. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll work with Steve after the meeting tonight. We'll maybe see if we can't set up a Zoom with Carrie this week and get some of this planned out, and then we can give you an update in 2 weeks on sort of where we are, and then the work that we need to do yet. So if you just continue to think about ways that we can get the word out beyond just word of mouth. But
Morning
with
show comes to mind too with WRCO.
Ron could be on the other side of it.
Put you and Phil back in the room together. I don't know. I feel like a lot of
It's a
people
good
here
idea.
still
Yeah, that's
Really
wise.
listen to that.
Yeah,
I'd
absolutely.
listen to that, yeah.
Do you have a newspaper? Because that would be another to see if they'd be willing to do a story.
When we talk to Carrie, a lot of times we'll write it and just publish it. It
Yeah,
might be just as easy.
yeah. The journalists love nothing more than just you write something and they can put it together because they're busy and short staffed. So that'll be something we'll add to the list. So that's awesome. So that we're just trying to throw out some ideas on the last thing we want, and I promise it will happen. But the last thing we want is people to say, I didn't know about this. Inevitably, somebody will come forward and say, well, I didn't know about this. Which is why, whether it's the newsletter that goes to every mailbox, whether it's the postcard, we could, and I'm making this up, but we could do a sort of a save the date postcard with more information coming in the newsletter, whatever. And we have to pick Carrie, she's the expert on all of this. But we just want to try to satirize your community with as much information as we can for the 2-night event. And if we do it right, we'll have more people there on Wednesday than we did on Sunday, because people have FOMO and they're missing out. And it happens almost every time, which is counterintuitive. You'd think that the numbers would drop off, But if we do this right, people will talk from Sunday night until Wednesday. And people are like, you know what, I'm just going to go. And that's also what we want. If we have more people there on Wednesday than Sunday, that's awesome. Okay? So thank you for that. That is great. I just want to spend a couple of minutes looking at this document. So Mark and Larry, we talked about this document last week, where we tried to, or 2 weeks ago, sorry, we tried to do a segmentation of the community. So we had, and this is in no particular order, but the upper left from school staff to seniors, parents, businesses, coaches. Lacey, Steve and I had a conversation about what you talked about.
Yeah.
And we actually had that conversation the day after the meeting. So know that we did not forget. We did talk about it. And if you have a second to stay after, I'd love to run something by you with that.
That's fine.
So local government and so on, what we'd like to do, and again, we're not going to do it now, but if I could please implore you to add names on here. Now, people, Larry and Mark, people fit in more than one category, obviously. But what we want to make sure is that we have diversification in terms of the people who attend. It is not going to be helpful to have 50% of the attendees being staff members, for example. We want staff members there, of course, but we also want senior citizens who don't have kids. We want parents. We want local businesses. We want a variety of people. And the way that we get that is we think about this segmentation and we start putting names in for people that we're willing to contact. And I see there are quite a few initials after the names are ready. So as soon as we get that website, now that we know the dates and the times, we'll get that website set up where people can go to the website and again, click on the link and it will be a Google form for them to put in their name. We'll talk about this offline, see, but I'm thinking about name, email address, whether they need childcare, and so on. So but it'll be a very simple form. And again, if they can't do it, if you're willing to do it for them, that's great. Or we'll also have a phone number that they can call and somebody in the school district will take their information and enter them into the form. So please, 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 I will send this out in the morning again, along with, it's actually embedded in the Google slideshow for tonight. And I'll send the Google slideshow just so you have it, but I'll also highlight this link. So the more that we can fill this in, the more assurance we have that these people have been asked to attend.
Would it be okay, like during the staff meeting, if like Amy gave me like 2 minutes just to like tell everyone like at my school at a staff meeting? But still reach out to, you know, a few, but I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I've got it on, actually on the agenda for
okay,
the next all district.
Okay.
Now that we're gonna know some
sure,
things,
right,
but
now that we
we'll
have.
figure out some other things.
Yeah. But if you're willing to reiterate it
Mhm.
in an elementary staff meeting, yeah, absolutely. And again, if there are local congregations that are willing to put something in a newsletter, or even if some of you belong to one of those congregations, sometimes at my church, they call it temple talk, where they allow people to come in, and they just give a little plug. It can't be for a business or something. It's got to be for a community related event. Anything like that is going to be awesome. But this is going to be the most important, in my opinion, this is the most important document of all of these. And it doesn't mean that these people are any more important than anybody else. And this document, we're not going to put on the website, of course. It's an internal facing document.
What's the acronyms mean? Oh, is it initials?
Initials for people who are doing the reach out. Yeah. And they may have talked to people about it, but now that we know the dates and times, and as soon as we can get that website set up and the registration form, we'll be able to move quickly. And this is also just a way for Steve, his staff, and me, and all of us to look at, okay, I'm gonna take Dave Turk, I have no idea who that is under local government, but as an example, to say, hey, I talked to Dave, he said he was coming, he didn't register. I'm gonna reach back out and say, hey, Dave, you told me you're coming, get on that website and register. So it just helps us. So if we can fill this out and have as many people on here as we possibly can. Now, if somebody registers, you don't need to add them to the list, right? This is, the main goal is to get them to go to the district website and RSVP for the events. This is just to help us track the people that we think would be great. So you can see the coaches. You can see there's somebody in agriculture. We talked about Francis with FFA. We talked about healthcare and so on. So it's just great to have as many people in these various groups who will attend on that Sunday and that Wednesday.
So you want us to contact them?
Yeah, Mark, ideally, if you,
I got a whole bunch of farmers.
yeah,
Whole bunch.
if they're not up there, if you wouldn't mind throwing their names up there and then putting your initials, MM after, then we just know that you're reaching out to them.
Right.
Yeah. And Aaron, we'll share, if you haven't, feel free to share this with the board too, or Steve. Again, no pressure on them, but if they're interested in, because I know they're talking to people.
Farmers too.
So,
You have to tell me which
I
ones
don't
you're gonna
wanna-
contact.
I know
'Cause
him personally, Marcia Keller. Maybe my grandma.
I'm gonna hit the Brandy and Ryan Schmidt and probably Ray Schmitz as well. That whole clan, and then the Durst boys can probably get a hold of Durstlars, see if they want anything to do with any of it.
Could I ask,
Paul Schroeder, but he's not actually.
who does equity livestock?
Hipsch.
Andy Hipsch.
Andy Hipsch.
Thanks.
awesome. So again, I will send this link out. You have it already, but I'll send it so it's at the top of your email. You can just be filling that out. And then as soon as we get the website and the RSVP link set up, we'll email that out to you directly. So, if you have somebody's email, you can just email them the link directly, and then they can either go to the website or they can go right to that link to RSVP. Again, just to stress, people do not need to RSVP, they can show up. It just helps us plan the number of tables, it helps us plan name tags, helps us plan food. And then we get their email address. And it's just something, not just once the plan gets approved, but a year from now, Steve is going to want to be communicating with people about how the progression is coming along. And one way to do that is by having email addresses for the attendees for those 2 nights. If they can't come to Sunday, please come to Wednesday. If they can't come to Wednesday, please come to Sunday. Ideally, we'd love to have them there for both. And you can reiterate that we try to find the times, especially on that Sunday, where we thought would be most user-friendly for them and family-friendly for them to do it. It's 7:48. I just want to pause. How are we doing? I feel like we've accomplished a lot tonight, but I want to hear from all of you in terms of how do you think tonight went? We've got a lot of work to do. But just where are we? Lacey, do you mind starting?
I guess I think we're doing well. There's a few things I disagree with. I very much think you two should put your names into our notice. However, I don't think Sheila should, since the board is trying to keep themselves separated. Just, that's not separating this board from that board, and that'll look like board influence. And then I still have some qualms on that, but we can talk about that when we're done.
Sounds good. Thank you for the feedback. Mark, your first meeting, how?
Yeah, I'm just a little confused on what I'm asking these guys to do, other than to show up for what, their input?
Yep.
And like, that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
Voice their opinions, give their ideas. Should be able to do that.
Would it be helpful for you, if I can probably get to it tomorrow morning, if in the email that I send you, I just send you some talking points?
Sure.
Again, it won't be a script, but if you called somebody, here's some things you want to make sure you highlight, because you bring up a great point, Mark. What am I asking them to come to?
Mhm.
And so I can
ask.
put together some talking points that if that's helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just because I wasn't here the first time, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to know what the end goal is here. What are we trying to do? Why does the board actually want to do this? Why? I mean, what are they trying to change? Have they heard bad reviews? I mean, what is the point of this event? Just to get community input?
Well, you always want to have goals, expectations and outcomes. And, we're elected by people in the community in the district to, be their voice.
Mhm.
But for my chair, having the board did this, I think around 2018, 19.
Yes.
But the board did it. And it never actually took off. And there was so many goals that it was unachievable for any person to achieve. So we're in a good spot now where we're firing all cylinders, our test scores are going up, overall people are pretty happy. However, we also can't rest on our goals. And I think it's best that we go through a third party, engage the community with, people like y'all that we all thought would be really valuable members, solicit their feedback, where the board's not influencing anything. You guys work with the community, you guys see what the community wants, and ultimately give a direction. And then it's the board's responsibility to hold the administrator accountable to what the community wants. That's really how it works. It's really what we're looking for here, is community-driven expectations, outcomes, goals, and results. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
It's a longer answer. Did I really answer your question?
Yeah, I don't need your talking points anymore. I got it. Take care.
Save me 5 minutes. Thank you.
No, I think that was a good summary.
I'm really excited about this. I think it's great. I think we're setting the course for the community and the district, and hopefully setting precedents for generations to come, honestly. So this isn't something we're gonna do once, never ever do it again. It's not gonna be something that we're gonna say we're gonna do and then we're not gonna do it. That is not what we're doing here at all. And honestly, as the board's been transitioning to a coherence governance model and removing ourselves from the day-to-day managing of operations with your thumb on everything, it's allowing the board time to focus on what's important. And obviously it's our kids, it's our community, it's what they want. So in the future, you're going to see a transformation of board meetings. You've probably already seen it now where they're not quite as long because we're not micromanaging. However, the hope is once you guys have the framework here, the board approves it, we can start spending time talking in our open meetings, talking about this right here. Where are we at with things? The things that truly matter, not snow plowing bids, not, this other stuff that We don't need to worry about that. Let's worry about our kids and our community, staff, people, and the ones that elected us.
That's great, thanks. Aaron. The reality, Mark, is the taxpayers are the ones who own the school district. And often, in most communities, they're never asked on what they want for the vision. Where do they want the school district to go in the next 5 years? And that's as simple as it is. We're trying to get their feedback. So you all can let the board know what your community expectations are.
So would it be fair to say that we're looking for the community's direction on shaping the mission, the vision, the values, the strategic plan of the district? They don't have to tell us that, but just give us feedback on what's going well, what's not going well, what they want to see in the future.
That's
And
exactly
then the
it.
steering committee will help put those things in little boxes to put in front of the board to implement going.
That's exactly it, Brady.
And we don't have a vision or value statement. We want you guys through community input to come up with one. We have a mission statement. It's outdated, needs to be changed, but that mission statement should also be running in the same parallel path through this process.
Yeah.
So on the 2 nights though, just so I'm clear when I'm hitting these people up or talking to them, it's pretty much a replay of the same. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, we're gonna have kind of a open table discussion, ask them, what do you like, you don't like, whatever, how we make it better. We're gonna do that twice, right?
Yeah, the questions are different.
Okay, so do you
And
want
so-
the same people here both nights? is what I'm
Yes.
asking, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Ideally, people would come both nights because they're different objectives for the 2 nights.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah. The other important piece is it's only small table discussion. And then we do a timeline activity, but no, the tables are not going to get up and speak. Right? So there's no public speaking. Nobody's going to be, the number one fear people have is public speaking.
Singled out. right?
Yeah, and nobody's going to be singled out. Everything is small group with the exception. The second activity of the first night is a timeline activity where people just go around talking about what was happening in the world, in education, and in particular, what was happening in Richland in the different decades. But again, that's all sort of individual small group. Some people do this and there's lots of public speaking that people are expected to do. There's none of that for this. You two and me. Those are going to be the people who are going to be speaking. That's it. Larry, thoughts on tonight?
I've been through a few of these, so I think the process will work.
Good.
I think the distinction that the board doesn't want to get involved in it is nice, but it's Richland County. And that's kind of a false distinction because it's so small that everybody knows fingerprints. In asset stuff like Sheila, I wouldn't underestimate her. She's very helpful.
Great. Thank you. Megan?
I think my job's pretty easy because everyone I'm gonna talk to works in the trenches with me, so.
Yeah.
I don't think they will, I know they'll come. I mean, I know what they want to say, and I mean, personally, I think this district, even without this committee, is going in an awesome direction. I mean, just with Alted and our PLCs, and now everyday 4K. So, I mean, as a staff member, I think that we're all like excited about the future. So I have no doubt that they'll come.
Awesome.
What's PLCs?
Professional learning communities. So data-driven decisions to help students succeed.
That's great.
So that's what happened
That's
on
great.
Wednesday afternoons.
Hey, Mark, I want to just say too that sorry,
Sorry.
I'll forget if I don't mention it. People are not expected to do anything ahead of time. So there's nothing anybody has to prepare. Because we're going to be asking them about their experiences with the district. So we'll start out, as I said, is what are you mad about? There's intentionality behind that. It sort of gets the venom out. Like, what are you really sort of upset about? And then what are you glad about, and then what are you sad about? And then we'll do a timeline activity. That's Sunday. On Wednesday, it'll be an activity that's brag, worry, wonder, bet. What do you brag about? What do you worry about? What do you wonder about? What would you bet on? And then the last activity will be something along the lines of, it's 5 years from now and you get the superintendent board's newsletter. What are you reading in that newsletter that demonstrates success? That these past 5 years have been successful. So again, it's future oriented. And what we're really trying to figure out from the community is, what does success look like? What matters to the community? But anyhow, the only reason I'm going into the detail with that, Mark, and for the rest of you, is there's nothing anybody has to prepare to come. Just come. And the questions are very basic, because it's all about their experiences with the school district. Sorry, Riley, I cut you off.
You're just fine. I like this meeting a lot. I mean, I like planning things, so like this is kind of my thing. But I think that this is gonna go really well for the district as long as we get those different groups involved in student performances. Like, I think this is just gonna be like really great. And like I said last meeting, I'm really excited to see how this gets implemented with school, since I still have 2 years left.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of really exciting for me.
Yeah. And you're going to work on, and we'll work with the superintendent on talking about student performances, but then let's also meet with Steve to talk about students that we want to make sure that get invited to participate, and to Lacey's point, to make sure that we have some students, maybe some from, you call them partner schools, that are going to be part of the discussion groups, but we'll talk about that. So thank you. Great.
Yeah, I thought it went well today. I think we look around here, we all were asked by somebody to be a part of this. And I think that is our mission now, to go find those people that we can tap on the shoulder to get them excited about it and empower them to go tap into their network. And it's just this ripple effect. So I think the more we can understand what the mission is, like your questions of what we're doing, and really embody it and get excited about it, I think the more other people will get excited about it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
I think the talking points would still be a good idea. I think what Aaron said was excellent, but I think there's nice in having some uniform things that are written in front of us. And I know I missed it, but the dates and times, Steve.
Yes, sorry. We're Sunday, April 26th. The event run will be from 4 to 6.
Okay.
With 3:30 to 4 PM being sort of hors d'oeuvres, come in, we'll have some snacks. So we'll call it 3:30 to 6, with the actual event being 4 to 6.
Okay.
And again, we're gonna stick to that time. If we say 6, we're gonna try really hard to be done by 6. And then Wednesday, the 28th, 29th.
It was the
Sorry.
29th.
29th.
Okay.
And that will be from 6 until 8.
Okay.
For the event, with 5:30 to 6 being the dinner. And we had talked about, with that, having probably pizza, more of a dinner versus the timing of Sunday.
Sure.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. So I'll send you an email in the morning with some of the talking points on what you can ask. And then I'll meet with Steve and Carrie, hopefully this week. Riley, maybe we can get something set up with the superintendent, you and me this week, to just dive into the student performances and, just pick your brain on some of that. If you're willing, we don't want to overwhelm you either with this. So if you ever feel like the ask is too much, please let us know. We know that you have other obligations as well. And so we're back here, Steve, in 2 weeks from tonight.
That is correct. The 16th, I believe it is.
Yeah. So I'll be Steve and I will be sending emails to you with updates, including, we'll create a Google sheet where you have ideas, throw it in there. And then please add names to the map of the community. So sorry, we're a few minutes over. Thank you. Thanks for all your time and your ideas. This is going to be really, really great. See you in a couple weeks.